now we are currently on our last session. We are here with Akshaya Venkatesh, and I'm going to make the Q&A for her. So if you have any question during the whole session, she's a great change maker. She has history in this field, and you have like simple, very strange, or any kind of question about your advocacy journey can be answered here. So right now, please, Akshaya, can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Yeah, so cool. So do you have slides to share or just like this with our slide?
I have some slides to share. I can show them, but if the questions take up a lot of the time, then that is totally fine.
Okay, the first question will be like a little bit of introduce. I would love you to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm a senior in high school and I'm a climate activist and female entrepreneur. So I created a nonprofit organization in my community, where I collect excess fresh produce that could be wasted and I give it to people who need it more. So that's kind of what my nonprofit is about. And in doing that, I help the climate and I help our planet. So that's kind of what I do.
Yeah, that's a great connection. I really love that. And
Thank
I
you.
would love to know what is your favorite SDG and how do you reach to that solution, you know? How do you brainstorm or what's the story behind your currently activism path?
So the story behind my current activism path is definitely, I've seen like hunger everywhere and it's really tough to see people go hungry, and obviously everyone should have the opportunity to eat nutritious food. And I feel like in our world it's not the problem that we don't have enough food, but that we don't have, like, the food that is in excess needs to be used. So I feel like that is kind of my motive behind all of the things that I do. So, and the SDG goal that I focused around is definitely that hunger one, and also climate action, obviously, because food, when it decomposes, when it gets wasted, it decomposes and it releases really harmful methane gases. So those methane gases obviously affect our climate. So I think the SDG goals are definitely the climate one and the hunger goal.
Yeah, so cool to see that. Also, I really love the fact that you started this path because you were conscious about the reality that is happening around the world. The fact that not each of us have access to some resources that I really like need to be like human rights. You know, we need to have food for everyone. We need to live in a clean environment, and you were conscious at such a young age, so it's so cool to see you here and to hear your story. So the second question will be, what was the biggest challenge in your career as an agent of change?
The biggest challenge in my career was definitely uh, getting people to believe in my cause. Obviously, climate action and hunger are huge problems in the world, but not many people tend to want to help young people as much because they might not have credibility and things like that. So I think getting people to understand that these issues are important and that I can make change was definitely one of the hardest parts of my journey.
Yeah, a lot of people, they kind of cast doubt on young people who are making change, or they don't believe in them, or it's maybe just cast off as just a school project and not a real thing. Someone in the chat, Nicole, wanted to know, how do you overcome the fear of not being competent enough or battling with thoughts of having insufficient knowledge or information to take action? So, when do you know when you're ready to take action? How do you overcome your fears?
Um, it's a really good question. So I think when I overcome my fear, I just I actually got involved in creating my organization through my school science fairs. So I think in those science fairs, I had teachers and I had a community in that school that really supported STEM and young people getting involved in STEM. And I think that support really helped me during this time because obviously it's really intimidating to take action when you're super young. But I think having that community and having people who support you, like my teachers, my parents, that definitely just any decision I made, they were ready to help me. So I think that like helped overcome my fear because I had so many people to support me. So if you have people that support you in whatever you want to do in taking action, that is the most important thing, I feel like, for overcoming fear.
And
So
how do you
cool.
find people that are similar to you or you could work with?
How do I find people that are similar to me? Um, I think one place where I find people that are similar to me, where I also started like wanting to take action, is volunteering. I think in volunteering opportunities, you can take a lot of action towards world problems, and in volunteering, you have a community where everyone is surrounded and has that motive to do this. They all have that same motive. So I think in kind of volunteering, which is, or at least in my community, volunteering opportunities are everywhere you look. So I think volunteering is really important, and you can find people that are similar to you who have the same goals and motives as you.
So cool. And yeah, I love the fact that you mentioned volunteering because I think that was the first time I started my activism path. It was because of my group of volunteering. So it's so cool to have that in common. And the last question will be, if do you have any advice for youth advocates who are starting their advocacy path in social action?
Definitely. So I think some of the most important pieces of advice is, if you have an idea, just go with it. I think, like, I've been put down multiple times and people would think my ideas are really not great because I'm a young person. I think if you have an idea, just go for it. And also look at the opportunities in your community to start taking action. So, like, as I said, volunteering and things in your school, especially being a young person, opportunities in your school are so important because I feel like schools these days really help support youth in STEM. So definitely volunteering opportunities, and definitely what I said first. Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's definitely my most important piece of advice. Sorry.
Thank you so much. No, it was great. And also, I know we have like little time, but I also if want to encourage people in the chat to follow Akshaya. We are sharing her social media on the chat in order that if you have questions, if you're wondering more about her journey, ask her and follow her because she's doing an amazing job. Thank you so much, Akshaya, to be with us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I hope we can see you in another opportunity. And always, I think it's very important to recall this. But as soon as you join your STEAM community, you are here like forever. We are a community forever. So thank you so much to everyone who assisted today and who all the speakers.